everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Topic
Thunder.
here from the top 10. I'm John Roca.
And I am Matt Nost, and we are here to bring you a show provided or created by us, but our patrons over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10 submit questions and topics every week, and we answer them as they come in. We don't read them beforehand. So we are just as surprised by these as you will be upon us answering them. So is it your turn or my turn to start?
I think it's your turn. I think it's your turn. Yeah.
All right. First one comes from Tim Williams.
Hey, Timothy.
It says, "G'day, blokes. Hope things are well, fellas. Let's all pop a bottle and celebrate the season that was the Lakers 2021-2022. Damn, it was fun watching those guys lose this season.
Oof, wow.
But brings me to my question. What, in your opinion, was the biggest super team fail? Nets 2013-14, Lakers 0-3-4, or someone else? And let's not include this season's Lakers. Mine is a slight cheat. It's Team USA in 04 that only took home the bronze. Still shocking today when you see that lineup. Anyway, thanks, blokes. Matt, sorry to flog a dead horse. Did you tell John I bet on the Lakers not to make the playoffs at the start of the season? Sorry, had to mention it as I was laughed at by everyone I know this year until now. Cheers, fellas. Hooroo. Timothy R. Williams."
Okay.
Yeah, I think he put $20 down or something like that.
Yeah.
And he won.
Okay.
So biggest super team fail to you. What are you going with?
Tough. That is tough. I mean, because I'm looking it up right now because I don't want to miss any super teams because we can also look at soccer, football, great super teams as well, like Real Madrid or PSG that has always had terrible super teams that have failed. What, the Rockets with Scotty and Charles? Would you call
Scotty,
that?
Charles, Akeem, Clyde? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you thought for sure.
Thought they'd be better than they would. That 0-3-4, yeah, because they had previously won championships.
Yeah.
And now they're just adding Carl and GP. It's like, yeah, that's gonna be a formidable team. Or there's that one, and then there's the Dwight, Nash, Kobe, Gasol.
Oh, yes. Right.
And that's another big failed super team. I mean, the Bucks, had they not won in football, would have been, I guess, maybe hypothetically, but not really. They just added Brady. Everybody else was pretty much theirs.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, what would you say what's the definition of fail? Because you could argue the Patriots not winning the Super Bowl in the 18-0 season is a fail. You could argue the Warriors not winning the title when they broke the record for most wins in a season is a fail. So are we saying just that they didn't even make the fucking playoffs? Is that what we're saying?
Well, I think the other thing about this super team is then they weren't homegrown. They were created.
Oh, I see. You accrued, you signed free agents to make it like your team was bigger.
Yeah, because then you don't ever really call a super team one that's like, oh, we drafted all these guys. You just call them badass.
Right. It's crazy. The Rockets had won the title 2 years in a row, then added Charles. You thought for sure Charles would be the right addition, and they didn't make it happen. Wow.
Well, they've been mentally beaten down by Jordan. That's my favorite is with that. If you bring up those Rockets championships before you can say anything to a Rockets fan, it's always, and they would have won them if Jordan was still in the league, which very well could be the case. Hakeem was a badass.
You never know.
And they shot the three well in an era that no one shot threes. It's not like they took a tremendous amount, but
yeah,
they'd still take a three. They were a great team. But I've had more than one. I guess maybe they just know I'm a Bulls fan, so they cut me off before I can say. Which I don't contend that any team could win 8 straight. I think Jordan genuinely needed that time away.
Yeah, there's no way. He would have melted down eventually.
Yeah, they wouldn't have.
I mean, were the Vikings a super team when they blew it against the Falcons with that field goal thing? I mean, maybe. Oh my God, no. Okay, so my number one answer is, this is heartbreaking to say, but my number one answer is the Michigan Wolverines. Absolutely, the Fab Five. Incredible super team, but couldn't win the title twice. Couldn't win the NCAA title twice. I mean, I know they're not homegrown, but they essentially, I mean, I know that you could argue they're homegrown possibly because they went from freshman and sophomore, but they went and got them. They went and got those players. So, I mean, you could argue that it's a semblance of free agency at a college level in a way.
Yeah, they were basically the first of their kind where all these young kids decided to team up and go to one school. And the one against UNC, I think, is the greater.
Yeah, I know. That was winnable. That game was winnable.
That game was winnable in the Weber timeout. And
yeah, man.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
I'll never get over that one.
What about any Yankees super teams?
There's
got to be
2004, the Yankees for sure. Because our payroll was upwards of $200 million. And didn't go anywhere.
I don't think I knew this. You're a Yankees fan?
Oh yeah, massive. Since I was a kid, like since I was like a child.
Dude, how did you not get drummed out of Virginia for that?
Because we don't have any fucking teams. We don't have any baseball teams in Virginia.
Orioles, right there.
It's not fucking Virginia. It's fucking Baltimore.
Yeah, but it's closer to you than fucking New York.
Does that mean that I have to be? If I live in New York, that just seems weird to me. You know? No, it's not. I mean, it's a different state. It's a different city.
But you gravitate towards the Skins and the Wizards. That's right there.
Washington, D.C. That's different.
Yeah, but Baltimore is right there.
In Virginia. No. Baltimore's like 4 hours away, man.
It's not that far.
Come on, dude.
It's not that far.
It's not even close. It's not even close. There's plenty of us who did not think of Baltimore as of some kind of connective tissue. States are pretty provincial, man.
Oh, no, I agree with that. I was just surprised the Yankees hate doesn't. I mean, it's the Eastern Seaboard, so there's all kinds of weird rivalries that have spawned.
Well, for me, it was because the first game I ever watched was Reggie Jackson in the series. And so, like, I remember that as a child watching that game, baseball game. And I was coming into playing baseball. I only played baseball for one season, by the way, as a kid, but I was coming into liking baseball. And there's something about the pinstripes and Reggie. There's something about Reggie. And I bought the candy bar all the time. So that's how I became a Yankees fan. And then just kind of ate shit all through the 80s with Winfield and Willie Randolph and Steinbrenner and Billy Martin and all the different coaches that came through the fucking turnstiles in the 80s. So when the 90s came with Derek Jeter, I had earned my fucking fandom. So I enjoyed every one of those championships. Like, fuck you. I enjoyed every single one of those because I'd suffered through the 80s, you know. So
I think it's crazy where Baltimore is a bridge too far when if you've ever flown to DC, sometimes it's cheaper to go to Baltimore and it's basically the same thing, which I've done. I used to date somebody in DC and I flew into Baltimore a couple times. I flew into, flew into DC itself. Like it's like, 6 one way, half a dozen the other on some level. And you're like, that's 4 hours away. Well, that means DC is like 3:30. 3:40.
I think maybe it's less than 4 hours away. It felt like it's a whole nother fucking thing. But New York,
you just hated Cal Ripken, didn't you?
No, I loved Cal. Cal, the Iron Man was great.
Hated him.
I just hated that look of the Orioles, that fucking boring ass orange and black and gray.
You hated Brooks Robinson.
Oh, Brooks. Yeah.
I met him once. That's the only reason that's one of the Oriole names that came up.
The belching son of a bitch. Oh man. No, that's never had the. I mean, I'd go to Orioles games. We went to Memorial Stadium a few times before it became Camden, and I just never found the connection with that team. But the Yanks, man, the Yanks were the Yanks. Even when they were losing all through the 80s, I still love the Yanks, man. So, you know,
that's true fandom.
Yeah, right. Of course, you have to suffer to be a fan. Like all these Red Sox fans that showed up in 2003. Fuck you. You know.
You know. Now the landscape has shifted in sports.
Yes.
In a lot of sports, you follow the player.
Right.
Especially within basketball, but I think to some degree in baseball, a little bit.
Yeah.
Although team is predominant, but I think in NFL, it is team oriented. There are some people that became Bucks fans because of Brady.
Right. Yes, of course. Sure. Just like LeBron.
Just much narrower. LeBron is as if the Lakers bandwagon needed more. They added another axle to that fucking wagon.
Yeah.
to put on the LeBron fans. Yeah, I don't even consider the Nets
No,
a super team
fuck no.
in the slightest.
It's like considering the Buffalo Bills, a super team. I don't think the Bills were a super team.
No. No.
No.
But I mean, they get a lot of hoopla, but it's a pretty rare occurrence.
Yeah.
Especially a huge flame out. Although the Olympics one is
it's a good choice.
A great choice. Because
you go ahead.
Well, is it with that talent, you should never lose.
Yeah, right. Well, the reverse of the Miracle on Ice is a super team. That Russian super team.
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's a super team, and they got beat by a bunch of college kids from the United States. That's a massive fail. Massive.
Yeah, it's an entire collection of individuals that have been professionals under the table for decades.
Had played with each other for decades as well.
Yeah. Grown men getting paid to play the sport.
Yeah.
And maintaining their amateur status.
Yeah.
Which is just weird to see Russia doing something underhanded and nefarious like that.
Don't get us,
you know?
Please don't get us poisoned. I don't want to get poisoned.
Why, you think they're coming after us?
I don't know. Russians are crazy, man. I don't get involved. Would you say any of the Packers teams with Aaron Rodgers were super teams that fucking blew it? No? All right.
No. Not in the, because it was always Rodgers and the whatever they drafted. They never make a free agent acquisition.
Yeah, true.
They don't cobble together, a bunch of stars. And usually in the NFL, if you go out and you're touting what you did in free agency, your team is not that good the next year.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it rarely, like the Rams are an exception. Like that shit never works out.
Right.
Usually it's, we put all these eggs in the basket and forgoed all our draft capital, which in the NFL is massive. So yeah, I don't think so, but I think we just so celebrate when it blows up in somebody's face.
Yeah.
But there are it's not as many examples as you would think there are of a true super team.
Yeah. It's like more NBA or soccer. Those are the two places or football. Those are the two places where you find super teams because you can, kind of shoot. I guess in baseball, I
get, but not really designed that way. In the NFL, the salary cap is so stringent that it's really difficult to do.
Yeah, you're right. NFL's tough.
Yeah, you got to grow most of your talent. You might be able to go out and get like a guy, maybe two.
Yeah, right.
But like the Dolphins have no line.
No.
And didn't draft anybody for the interior of their line, but they went out and spent a bunch of draft capital on Tyreek Hill when they have a big fat question mark QB. Now, if it works out, you can say, "Oh, look at the big acquisition," but I think it's going to blow up in their face.
Yeah, the Mets. The Mets in 2009, the Phillies in 2011, the Marlins in 2012, the Jays in 2013. The Nationals. Yeah, I remember that when the Nationals fucking just tanked it. I mean, I would say plenty of those Washington Capitals teams that blew it in the playoffs every fucking year in the NHL there was 2 or 3 of them that were super teams that just fucking blew it.
Yeah. But like
I would say the Padres this year. I mean, they got what? They took in who was it that they brought in the Padres this year that they thought they were going to be rolling in the playoffs. They didn't even make the fucking playoffs.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah.
I know that they were supposed to be good and rivaling the Dodgers. That was the preseason talk, but then I couldn't even tell you where they landed. That's how little I watch baseball at this point. And I don't believe I watched one pitch of the World Series.
Wow. Strong. Okay.
I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But hopefully the new CBA and they work out the rules and get rid of that shift that none of the players really care for and whatever else there. Maybe they'll speed the game up and make it better.
What would you say number one NBA one is, though, man? I mean, that's a good question. Your number one NBA super team that spectacularly failed. I have to go with for me. It's got to be the Lakers.
Yeah, honestly, one version of these. And sorry, Tim, but this year's does count.
It does.
Because you still have an incredibly still in his prime LeBron. Now, it's not the upper echelon of his prime, but he can still score buckets.
Right.
And then AD was supposed to be the next anointment or the next anointed, and can't stay healthy. And Westbrook flamed out to the degree that now I'm curious as to what team takes him off their hands.
Right.
Which is crazy because he's a former MVP. But I don't know who. I don't know who takes him at this point.
Russell, yeah. He should have stayed in Washington, bro.
Should have
stayed in Washington. We'd have been better a team. We'd have survived the Beal injury. We'd have gotten in the playoffs, and at least he would have, he would have tasted the playoffs 2 years in a row. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, but I actually think you guys are intriguing next year. Once you're at full health.
Yeah.
It's like, I kind of like this depth. Let's see what it's like with Beal. Young guys get another year. It's not like you're going to win a championship, but neither are my Bulls, especially with Levine. Looks like he's going to leave.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Would you say the Heat losing to the Mavericks? Was that a big thing? I mean, I kind of create space the fact that it's the first year they were together.
Yeah, and they ended up winning 2.
Yeah, they won 2.
So it really alters your opinion of it.
No, I think it has to be Shaq and
Shaq, Carl, GP, Kobe.
Yeah, that team should have won a fucking title.
They did make the finals though.
They did, but they got beat by a star-less team. And
but a team that made sense on the court as opposed to on paper.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that one was, they'd won previously. You assume they have that gear.
Yeah.
And they're bringing in 2 Hall of Famers who know what their role is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I think he hit the nail on the head with which he thought it was a cheat. But I think that Athens Olympics team, when you look at that roster and you look at the other rosters, you're like, I don't give a shit that these guys have played together for a while. You guys are too good.
Yeah.
Too good.
Right. Yeah.
So that might be the biggest. But
okay.
Tim, I hope you're spending that money. It was a good payday for you.
No doubt.
Enjoying it. And thank you for your topic, sir.
I love how he didn't tell us how much he made, right? He didn't tell us how much he made.
I don't think it paid off all that well. Put like $20 down and had, although you would think like everybody, they were technically the de facto pick to win the West.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. I had him making the playoffs, but as I don't think I had him winning the West. I think I had the Suns winning the West.
Okay.
I was kicking myself when I did my first iteration of my list. I had the Grizzlies at 3rd. And I was like, God, that seems like a lot of growth for a young team. And I dropped them down by like the 4th time making the list. They were the one that kept getting bumped down. I was like, you know what? But Utah is always consistent. I think Utah's going to end up better. Hey, what are you going to
do? Okay. So we go to the next one? We go to the next one?
Let's move on. But thank you, Tim. Great question.
You've been great. Let me see here. What do we got? This one is from Michael Orikar. Hope I'm saying that right. Hi, man, John. I'm a huge NFL fan. But since I live in Sweden, so I don't have that many people to discuss the league with, I'm turning to you guys. Are there any rule changes you would like the NFL to do for the upcoming season? And what are your comments on my suggestions? And here are the changes that Michael suggests. Changing the touchback rule for fumbles that go into and out of the end zone that leads to the defending team getting the ball because of a touchback. The offense should keep the ball from the point of the fumble, as with any other fumble that goes out over the sideline. Okay. Offensive pass interference penalty should be changed from a 10-yard penalty to a 5-yard penalty, but include a loss of down. If you throw an incompletion, you lose the down. If you throw an incompletion and commit pass interference, you shouldn't be rewarded by getting the down back.
Yeah, but if the pass interference led to the incompletion.
The offensive pass interference led to okay. The slide rule should be changed. There are too many penalties called on the defense for late hits because QBs are sliding right before the tackle is being made. There's no way a defensive player has time to adjust in many cases. The rule should be changed so the quarterback is forced to slide earlier to stay protected. Example, the defender could take 2, but not 3 steps from when the slide starts if contact is to be considered legal or something like that. Now it just seems like a judgment call that always goes in favor of the quarterback. Thank you for taking my question, and go Niners from Michael Orikar. There you go. Matt, thoughts?
Well, good luck to your Niners. Let's see what they do with Debo. It's an interesting. They're playing hardball with a guy that does have health issues, but dear God, I don't know how the fuck you replace what he does.
It's confusing to me because Debo, I don't know where Debo was going either, because Debo keeps saying, like, y'all reading too much in the papers. Y'all reading it. I know what I'm doing. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Does that mean you want to stay or you want to go? Which is it? And where do you think you're going to get the same situation that you got here with the 49ers? I don't know. The Chiefs seem to be the only offense that really seems ready built to use him correctly. So I don't know.
Yeah, but why in the world? What would the Chiefs have to give up to get him?
Right. A lot.
It'd be a hefty price tag, especially when you look at what Devontae Adams got.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Or even the guy that just got traded, AJ Brown.
Yeah, that's crazy.
$100 million with like what, 70 or 60 of it guaranteed? Fuck me, man.
Yeah, I think it was 50, 55-ish, 54 guaranteed, maybe
Was
57.
Yeah.
It was in the mid 50s.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, he's good.
I mean,
Is he that good? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think AJ is that good for $100 million. Fuck no. No, I mean, because he wasn't even, he was a good receiver for Tennessee, but he wasn't like, he wasn't like fucking otherworldly, dude, to command $100 million. So,
And not like there is a distinct top tier of wide receiver.
Yes.
And then after that, there's a whole bunch of guys that I think are a lot of the same.
Yeah.
Some are a little bit better, some are a little bit worse. There's like a big clump in the middle.
Yeah, it's like a median that they're all kind of hanging.
Yeah, which I think the bulk of receivers kind of fall into.
Yeah.
And then, but there's that like top, let's say like super duper top tier is a couple dudes, maybe 5 dudes or something. And then the tier below that, like there's a bunching of, let's say, 15-ish wide receivers.
Yeah.
That you need to have one of those guys if you're going to have a legitimate wide receiver core. And then after that, it's just like, as long as you have 2 guys that, add up to 10.
Yeah.
Like out of 1 to 10 scales, like this dude's a 7, that dude's a 3. Well, the 3, we just need him to catch a pass every once and again. But let's see. What would I change? Well, I mean, some of it's like the no fun league. They allow celebration.
Yeah.
They finally got rid of that, which I like.
Yeah.
And they took that into account.
I like the touchback rule that he mentions here. I don't like that the ball fumbles into the end zone and they get it back. The defense gets it on the 20. I think that's bullshit. I think you got there that close. If the ball gets fumbled out of bounds, then where the ball was last in bounds or last hit in bounds, that's where it stays. And if it goes into the end zone, it goes into the end zone. You can obviously, if you can recover for a touchdown or recover for a touchback, that's still allowed. But if the ball goes out the end zone, it's not an automatic touchback. It's back to the offense. So, it's a shame you weren't able to grab it, but that's the bounces of the game, So I don't think it should be where you automatically get the ball if it goes out of bounds at all. Maybe you get the ball in the 1 as the offense and punch it in. It's not guaranteed.
It is not guaranteed.
Yeah. So
because I like the rule changes to protect players.
Sure.
I realize that, it hampers the defense, but if you want to think about the long-term health of these individuals, you got to make certain concessions to that. So I'm glad the NFL has started to skew towards, hey, maybe we shouldn't just have free reign to clock somebody at all times. Right. Now, there's still moments where I don't know how you legislate this kind of play out of the game unless you dramatically alter it.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's been good. I sometimes hate the pass interference as the spot of the foul.
Oh,
because
really?
there are quarterbacks that just know if I heave this long enough and my guy gets in the area and gets crushed, even though he has no chance of it, it's Joe Flacco or somebody that's like an okay quarterback realizes they can bail themselves out at times if the secondary isn't as strong by just heaving it out there and their dude gets murdered and is in the realm of catching it. But let's be honest with ourselves. Your quarterback and that wide receiver aren't consistently good enough for me to buy that you're going to catch that on a high enough percentage basis that I think you should call this. Although then it becomes a judgment call, so you can't do that.
Yeah.
But I hate that shit because sometimes it is. It's just like he would have caught that And then other times it's like, I don't know that you had a legitimate shot at that.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a judgment call from the refs themselves. But I think more often than not, they seem to err on the side of, we're just going to go ahead and call this pass interference.
Right.
And that'll kill you. And certain times when you can review things and other times when you can't, like it's egregious and then suddenly like, that's not baked into the rules. Be like, okay. Although I don't want to slow the game down by constantly going to reviews, because it also seems like the NFL, when they go to that fucking tent, it takes them 10 times longer than it should.
Yeah, in football, you're in and out within a minute. VAR checks in a minute to 2 minutes tops. With NFL, it feels like it's like 10 minutes sometimes.
Yeah, I think that.
What do you think?
Offside official is the one that makes the call.
Yeah.
He's part of technically the crew. Now you could ask like, hey, what's the atmosphere if the guy's being chippy?
Yeah.
Type of thing. Do you need to come down hard on this to stop them from doing this later or whatever?
Yeah.
But I think that they should have the overriding of here's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe put a clock on that.
People might hate me for this, but I say that there should be an overtime period, full overtime period, the 15 minutes. And whoever is in the lead at the end of the 15 minutes is the winner. If you're tied again, then it's sudden death. That way, you've had a full overtime to score. And if neither one of you two idiot teams can score enough to win the game, then fuck it. You're in sudden death, and that's that. You had an extra quarter to win this game, and you still couldn't get it done. So now we go to sudden death in the 6th quarter, and I think that's it. That way it's done. You don't have to mess around with whoever scores first wins. That way you've had that extra time. Both of you possessed the ball in that extra period, and you've had a chance to win this game on offense or defense. Couldn't get it done if you're tied still. Then in the 6th, it's whoever gets the ball first, if you can stop them or if they can get there in the field goal range and win. That's it.
Hell, even go to, let's end the tie. So say they don't do the 15, right? They just, they maintain it where it's at now. And they're tied at the end of that. Let's have a shootout. Bring out the field goal kickers. We start at the fucking 30. You kick one, I kick one. We move it back 10 yards. Now we're at the 40.
Oh, no way. Dude, I'm telling you right now, America.
How exciting would that be, though? This guy just hit a 60-yarder. Good fucking luck. Suddenly, Justin Tuck is even more valuable. But that would be exciting as all hell.
It would. You're not wrong there.
Yeah, because you can't do like how do you incorporate a quarterback like a skills challenge they do at the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
But you can't replicate the same situations, whereas kicker just like, okay, you're kicking from the same spot.
Right.
The same whatever. And coin flip, you can determine if you go first or second.
Yeah.
Like whatever, we could do all that. Eliminating the ties, I think would be good.
100%. People are like, oh, they play 17 games now, and you're asking them a lot. These guys are in peak physical condition in ways that players weren't even 10 years ago in the same kind of condition. So these guys can play 17 games. So to me, if you can play 17 games, you've got to create a space for an overtime period and what have you. And, whoever scores, someone's going to score in the overtime. And if you don't score in the second overtime, you just keep playing until someone scores. So it even behooves you like, fuck it, I'm just going to throw the game. I'm going to have my boy run back in the end zone, give him a safety, and we're done, and we're out of here because I need to rest these guys for a game coming up in a week, a bigger game. So I'll take the L. Fuck it. And I think this is where it becomes strategy. So, I mean, this people are complaining.
What about in a situation like just out of the box?
Yeah.
It's like under 2 minutes.
Okay.
And you're past a certain yardage.
Yeah.
So it's 2nd and 20. So you got to be 20 yards or longer on the downage.
Okay.
You can elect to take another 10 yards and you get an extra player. So you can put like another wide receiver out there. The defense can't do anything about it. But instead of being 2nd and 20, it's 2nd and 30.
What is wrong with you? Why do you have these proposals?
That's fun.
It's the NFL. You're not going to be able to get that past the NFL.
I think the shootout is legit. That one is just like stupid. Let's
bring in the quarterback's wife. They're going to come in. They're going to quarterback. It's mandatory that you bring in the backup quarterback. You have to bring in the backup.
I'm in on that
series.
Suddenly, that backup quarterback Or you got to play your full second units.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The second unit versus the
Full
third.
second unit across the board. Second unit defense and offense. They got to play.
Bro, that's not a bad idea now. If we play the overtime where both teams get a chance with the ball with their first units and we're still tied, then we go to the second units, then we go to the third units. I think it's not a bad idea.
But I don't think they carry enough guys for a third unit.
They don't? All right.
For both sides of the ball?
Isn't it 76 dudes per fucking team?
Yeah, but you got special teams and you like some guys that are just there for kicking or for long snapping. So the long snapper is going to be a center, I guess.
53 players on a roster. 53.
Yeah. So you're saying 11 and 11, there's 22.
Yeah.
You get to 44, but you can't get to 66.
I can't get to 66. Fair point. All right. So,
and even with injuries, you're not going to be as deep at certain positions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't think you have 6 wide receivers.
That's true. It's true.
So you have to make some concessions. Maybe the number 3 wide receiver on the first unit becomes the number 1 on the second unit.
Yeah. All right. Fine.
Or something along those lines. But I'm up for that. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Let them play.
Like special teams coach has to take over for coach. Start calling the plays.
Charlie, get over here.
Can't use your offensive and defensive coordinators. It's got to be their assistants.
Oh my God. Yeah, that way everyone's resting. All your first team players, all your first team coaches are resting, so you can't complain.
You got to bring in your second unit.
Risking injury with them. Yeah, that's a great point, man.
Yeah, I'm in on that. That one will never pass.
No.
Yeah, there's no way. I think the shootout could be something. I think how fun that would be.
Of course it'd be fun, but it's way too European. It's essentially a penalty shootout. There's no way they would allow that in America.
Yeah, but we don't say it's like soccer. We say it's like hockey.
Okay.
And that's more palatable.
Maybe I can accept the hockey approach. Like fool people. We shall see.
Guys have to run up and like juke up to the ball and then kick it. Oh, he deked it. Look at that.
What are you juking? What are you juking? The goalposts?
I'm just saying, make it more like hockey. You got to shimmy. You got to get past the defender and then kick it. Hey.
That I can accept. That would be fun. You have to get past the defender, or maybe even the other punter. You have to get past the other punter because they're well known for, whenever they get tackles, you have to get past the other punter, then kick the ball in time.
Or what if, all right, so after the first 5 minutes, we go to 7-on-7.
Oh.
And then after 7-on-7, we go down to 3-on-3.
3-on-3.
Well, you got an offensive lineman, a quarterback, and a wide receiver. Or a running back, your choice.
You can see Roger Goodell going, we're going to have 3-on-3 to end the overtime. There's no way that would ever happen.
None of these are ever going to happen.
Yeah. But no, both teams should absolutely possess the ball in overtime.
You should have stayed in Vegas with the sports people coming in and started pitching this idea around.
Yeah, it's a good point. I can make some money off of that.
Missed opportunity.
Oh, the shame of it. Story of my life. All right. Well, thank you so much for that email and that question, Michael. We appreciate it. Shout out to you there in Sweden for being a fan of the top 10 all the way out there in Sweden, Matt. That's pretty cool. Go 49ers, I guess. I'm not a 49ers fan, but go them. And, we appreciate all the questions, thoughts, and comments you all send to us. Remember, if you're a $5 and above patron, you get to send in questions, thoughts, and comments. And as you can see from the show, we do not read them ahead of time and just kind of go on our tangents and have some fun with them. So hopefully we're entertaining you as we do so. Right, Matt?
That we do. And if you'd like to send in your questions, head over to patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10 and join up over there. We'd love to have you. And thank you to everybody that submitted this week. And we have questions for days.
Yes.
So thank you for those that heard the call to action, but please keep sending them in, we thoroughly appreciate it. And that email address is over at patreon.com/the top 10. So hit us up over there. You can follow the show on Twitter at top 10 show, all spelled out. And then on Instagram and YouTube, it is /the top 10 podcast with the number 10. So please hit us up, and you can follow me anywhere at Matt Nost.
And you can follow me at The Roca Says. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of Topic
Thunder.